Nicholas.
Hello, Adam. How are you?
Good day, sir.
Good day.
Welcome back to the Mastery Podcast Explorers. I am Adam. This is Nick. And we are here to give you some tasty morsels of financial knowledge that you can chew on and swallow a little bit.
Very delicious.
What is today?
Today we're talking about paying off your mortgage early. How to calculate that and how to, different strategies and tips on how to do that.
Yeah. What's your take on this?
What is my take on this?
Should people be paying off their mortgage early?
So very personal question. Currently I'm renting. In the future, I don't, I subscribe to different philosophies, particularly, Grant Cardone is someone who believes in renting. And so he lives in Florida, rents, and then he has a bunch of investment properties. So, for him, he never wants to tie in a bunch of money.
Right.
So for me, I subscribe to that philosophy, at least for now. So the thought of a mortgage, having a bunch of debt, isn't appealing to me.
Yep.
Especially with my desires to travel and, live internationally and stuff like that.
Right.
Paying a mortgage doesn't sound like appealing or of benefit to me. However, in the future, having a mortgage, whether it's through a rental property or investment property,
right,
where other people are paying it, that's cool for me.
I think you're spot on that it is a very personal decision.
Yeah.
I have a good friend who is a commercial real estate investor, and he will tell me often, no way would I pay off my mortgage. I know I can find a better use for my money than sitting in my personal house. I personally like the idea of having a paid off home because then you don't have the monthly, mortgage payment that's going out every month.
Yep.
So there's a level of security and all of that, but it's totally personal.
Yeah.
For me, I like it because I'm an entrepreneur, not an employee. So I'm not used to getting a set amount every single month and don't plan on that for the rest of forever. It's like, I'm going to make fast bursts of cash and then I'm going to put that to work. And at some point, all of that money then takes care of me and my needs, right? Yep. So anyway, let's talk about the payoff mortgage early calculator and how it's done. There's a number of different ways to do this, and we're going to lay out probably 2 or 3 ways on the show. The first is something called a biweekly mortgage payment. So do you want to describe what that is?
Sure.
As best you can.
Yeah, so biweekly, and this is actually something that's really interesting. Every time I hear biweekly, sometimes I'm confused as to whether or not it's every other week or if it's twice in 1 week. But I think it's the term bi-weekly or bi-monthly is actually synonymous, even though they can mean 2 different things.
Oh, okay.
So what we're talking about is that you are making payments on your mortgage twice a month. So 2 times a month. So whether that's the 1st and the 15th or 15th and 30th, whatever the case is, you're making 2 payments in 1 month. And the way that the math works is that, traditionally you're going to be paying a mortgage, monthly. And so over the course of a year, you'll have 12 payments. However, if you make bi-weekly payments, then you'll actually end up with 26 payments, right?
Right.
Which accounts for essentially another month paid, so 13 months versus the 12, which would then have you pay your mortgage faster.
Yes. And in fact, if you do a bi-weekly payment plan, on average, you're going to shave about 7 years off of a 30-year fixed mortgage. So just by making a payment every other week, right, what you're doing is you're essentially chopping off chunks of principal, which then reduces the amount of interest that's paid over time. So it decreases the amount of time on a 30-year fix down to about 23-ish.
Makes a world of a difference.
It's crazy, right?
Yeah,
it's crazy.
It blows my mind still.
Now, the other way to do it is a lot of people will talk about a 15-year fixed mortgage. And a 15-year fixed versus a 30-year fixed means that your payment is going to be bigger, but more of your payment's going to principal every single month, which thereby reduces the amount of time you're paying over time. So that's kind of option number 2. And then there's a third option, which we call the Shred My Mortgage option. And Shred My Mortgage is a software application that essentially shows you how to accelerate the payoff of your mortgage by leveraging short-term debt in the way of a home equity line against your home mortgage. So I know it sounds kind of crazy, right? But the gist of it is that you are sending lump sum payments to the principal and again, lopping off huge chunks of principal over time. So does that make sense?
It does. I mean, so to put numbers to it, how many years could it save you, what?
Yep. So on average, for someone that has, and the key to this working is you have to have discretionary income. There's got to be more money left over at the end of the month.
Okay.
Not more month left over at the end of the money.
Yeah.
And so that extra money that's left over is then applied, but it's applied almost times 2 or 3 using that home equity line, right?
Okay.
So it will shave a 30-year fixed mortgage, generally speaking, down to somewhere between 7 and 10 years.
Wow.
Yeah, it's crazy. And we'll save, on a $200,000 mortgage, generally speaking, again, you'll probably save somewhere around $150,000 in interest by using that system.
That is crazy.
Yeah.
Where can people find out more about this?
So the website is shredmymortgage.com.
Okay.
And there is a savings analysis that you can plug your details into. And essentially, you're going to plug in your current mortgage balance, your income, your expenses on a monthly basis, and then it will kick out how much you can save and how fast you could actually pay that off.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Shred My Mortgage.
Shredmymortgage.com.
Okay, perfect.
Yep.
We'll include that down here. So, and one thing that you said was people need to have a level of discretionary income to be able to use that.
Yep.
So for listeners or watchers, explorers who may not have the discretionary income,
Yep.
There are a couple other ways to pay off your mortgage faster. Particularly, one, Airbnb is an option, renting out if you have an extra room, bringing an extra roommate. And there's something that Adam shared with me today called a granny flat.
Granny flat.
Do you want to share about that?
It's nothing like flat granny. Okay? It's a granny flat. I was educated about this the other day. A gentleman contacted me. He's going to build his garage into a granny flat. And essentially it is an apartment for a mother-in-law or a grandparent or somebody that's going to come live with you. And this apparently is La Rage in California and Florida.
What does La Rage mean?
The Rage.
Oh,
La Rage.
Interesting.
Yes, in California and parts of Florida and various places where real estate's expensive and people need extra income, they're turning their garages into a granny flat or an apartment of some kind. By the way, if you are interested in Airbnb and you're just curious, like, well, how much could I make with an Airbnb room? Right? There is a site called airdna.com that if you plug in your zip code or the city in which you live, it will kick out what the average amount of Airbnb revenue is for your city. So, there are some places where somebody might make $8,000 to $12,000 a year extra. Some places might make $20,000 a year extra on average just by having one room they rent out on Airbnb. So imagine how much.
All right, Tay. Okay. So there are a couple ways. Okay. And something that Adam shared with me today is a concept called the granny flat. So you want to share about the granny flat?
So I was talking to this dude who lives in San Diego, and he was talking about building out his garage into a granny flat. It was the first time I'd ever heard it. I've heard of flat granny before, but never a granny flat. And so, the granny flat is basically a garage that is transitioned into a residence of sorts that people will then use to rent out or have a roommate or what have you. But their term was a granny flat.
Gotcha.
Which I would guess that real estate agents maybe are listing granny flats as like a bonus room or a bonus apartment or something, when they sell houses. I don't know.
I do. My brother actually mentions that. He's like, oh yeah, and you can actually convert this, or there's actually opportunity to build another piece of land or whatever, another room or whatever.
I think before Airbnb, that stuff wasn't commonplace, and now it's like, oh, there's a vehicle to get it rented and make money on it, so why wouldn't people do that, right? Yeah. So after we're done with this, I'm going to have you help me frame out the garage, and we're going to turn the garage into a granny flat.
Oh yeah. Nice.
Yeah. So here's your challenge for the day. I want you to check out shredmymortgage.com and go to the savings analysis tab and plug in your details and just see how fast you could pay off your mortgage if you have one. You can also use it for student loan debt if you have student loan debt. But it'd be interesting to see how fast you can pay it off and how much in interest you're going to save over the life of that. Cool?
Cool.
Tomorrow, what's up?
Tomorrow we are talking about money mindset. Yeah, so you don't want to miss this one.
This is important for a couple reasons. One, because April is Financial Literacy Month. right?
Yeah.
So we should all be focused on our money mindset for the month of April.
Totally. Yeah.
Tune in, check us out, like, subscribe down below.
See you tomorrow.
Take care.